Welcome to True Dinar Insider. I'm cutting through the noise to bring you the facts. If you're seeing headlines screaming that the US Treasury just announced a live revaluation of the Iraqi dinar and Vietnamese dong on national television, stunning investors and changing the global financial landscape overnight, take a deep breath. What I'm about to tell you is the absolute, unvarnished truth that the viral rumor mills don't want you to hear. That shocking video clip, the one that claims a top official made a world-altering declaration? It's a masterclass in digital deception, a Frankenstein's monster of out-of-context clips, fabricated AI-generated voiceovers, and pure, unadulterated fantasy, designed for one purpose: to hijack your hopes and your wallet. I've spent the last 48 hours deep in the darkest corners of Forex speculation forums, tracking the lifecycle of this specific lie from its birth in a murky post to its explosion across YouTube and social media, and the pattern is always the same. It preys on a very human emotion, the desperate desire for a life-changing windfall. But here's the undeniable, data-driven reality as of this very moment, confirmed directly on the official website of the Central Bank of Iraq. The Iraqi dinar remains pegged at a rate of 1,310 IQD to $1 US. Not 1 to 1. Not even close. 1,310 to 1. Let that number sink in. It hasn't dramatically revalued, it has been meticulously and publicly maintained at this fixed, government-set price for years as a bedrock of Iraq's monetary policy. Now, let's pull back the curtain on this specific US Treasury announcement hoax and understand its sinister mechanics. This rumor didn't start in a financial journal, it was engineered in the echo chambers of sites like Dinar Guru and specific Facebook groups, where anonymous insiders drip-feed intel to a captive, hopeful audience. The TV announcement is almost always a crudely edited clip, sometimes a real news segment about unrelated Treasury functions with a fake ticker overlay, other times a complete deepfake. The creators know exactly what they're doing. They are exploiting YouTube's recommendation algorithm, which prioritizes watch time and viewer engagement. How do they do it? They craft these explosive, all-caps titles with the words "live," "announced," and "stun" specifically to trigger clicks. They then front-load the video with 10 seconds of that shocking, manipulated clip to hook you, and then spend the next 10, 15, even 20 minutes on a long, meandering, speculative monologue filled with what-if scenarios and testimonials from other investors. This isn't journalism, it's a performance designed to keep you watching, to boost that all-important watch time metric so the algorithm pushes the video to more and more potential victims. The longer you stay, the more ads you might see, and the more likely you are to be steered toward their exclusive paid Telegram groups or promoted currency dealers where the real scam crystallizes. This brings us to the crucial, devastating twist that these promoters will never, ever admit on camera. This entire ecosystem is a classic pump-and-dump scheme, but with a uniquely cruel twist because you can't actually dump a currency that hasn't moved. The pump is this constant barrage of hopeful rumors, like this fake Treasury news, designed to create artificial excitement and demand. They want a frantic wave of new buyers to rush into the market, often purchasing physical dinar notes from their affiliated dealers at vastly inflated premiums over the actual, worthless-in-the-West banknote value. The promoters and the dealers profit from these sales commissions and fees. The dump happens when the rumor inevitably fades, the promised revaluation never arrives, and the retail investor is left holding bundles of foreign cash they cannot spend, cannot sell back at the price they paid, and which are functionally illiquid. You are not investing in a currency, you are purchasing a collectible at a scam markup, fueled by lies. So, while the headline is a fiction, the economic mechanism it tries to trigger is very real and very predatory. The true story isn't on a fake news ticker, it's in the boring, static data on the CBI's website and the sad threads on consumer protection forums from people trying to get their money back. The only thing being revalued here is the bank balance of the rumor mongers, skyrocketing upward on the back of shattered dreams. And that's the complete, 700-word truth for this first segment. Welcome back. If the story of the Iraqi dinar was a lesson in digital deception, then the saga of the Vietnamese dong is a masterclass in real-world economic pressure. It's the storm that the fake news factories try to weaponize, but the reality is far more complex and, frankly, more interesting than any revaluation fairy tale. While promoters are selling you dreams of overnight riches, the State Bank of Vietnam, SBV, is fighting a high-stakes, billion-dollar battle on three separate fronts just to keep its currency stable. Forget a miraculous upward revaluation. The true, shocking headline is that the SBV is burning through its foreign exchange reserves, selling an estimated $4.4 billion since just August to prop up the dong and prevent a steeper collapse. National reserves have dwindled to around $81 billion, covering just 2.3 months of imports, the lowest level in years. This isn't a sign of impending glory, it's the stress signal of a central bank in a bind. And here's the first critical twist that connects directly to those US Treasury rumors. One of the biggest anchors dragging the dong down is the monetary policy of the United States Federal Reserve. That's right, the very country falsely credited with announcing a revaluation is, through its own domestic interest rate decisions, applying relentless devaluation pressure on the VND. The Fed's higher-for-longer interest rate policy has created a scenario where holding US dollars simply offers a better, safer return than the Vietnamese dong. This negative interest rate gap sucks capital out of Vietnam, as investors rationally shift their money toward dollar-denominated assets. So, while fictional TV clips claim the US is blessing a revaluation, the actual, data-driven financial mechanics show America's policies are doing the exact opposite, making the SBV's job a daily struggle. But the pressure doesn't just come from across the Pacific. It's bubbling up from Vietnam's own streets through two explosive domestic channels. The first is the gold market. A massive arbitrage opportunity has emerged, with local gold prices soaring up to 13% above global prices. This creates a vicious cycle. Traders need US dollars on the black market to buy gold abroad, they smuggle it into Vietnam to sell at a huge profit, and that rampant, unofficial demand for dollars pushes the black market exchange rate through the roof. By late October, the gap between the official bank rate and the black market rate for dollars stretched to nearly 1,500 dong, the widest spread in 12 years. This isn't just a number, it's a crisis of confidence, a signal that regular people and businesses are losing faith in their own currency and desperately seeking dollars as a haven. The second pressure point is a stark capital flight. Foreign investors, spooked by global trade tensions and a slowdown, have been net sellers. In the stock market alone, they pulled out a staggering VND $107 trillion, about $3.9 billion, in just the first 9 months of 2025. When foreign direct investment dries up and money flees the country, the supply of US dollars in Vietnam shrinks, making the existing dollars even more valuable compared to the dong. This is the brutal economic tug-of-war at play. The SBV is selling dollars to support the dong, while market forces in fear are hoarding and demanding those same dollars. This brings us to the impossible dilemma at the heart of the State Bank of Vietnam, and it's the ultimate proof of why a sudden, massive revaluation is a fantasy. The SBV is caught in a policy trap between two conflicting government mandates. On one side, there is an ambitious political demand for blistering economic growth, targeting over 8% GDP growth. To fuel this, the bank is pressured to keep interest rates low and credit flowing freely. On the other side, that very same government demands a stable exchange rate as a pillar of macroeconomic trust. Here's the catastrophic catch: you cannot aggressively pursue both at the same time. Keeping interest rates low to spur growth makes the Vietnamese dong less attractive to hold, which increases devaluation pressure. But to defend the dong strongly, the SBV would need to raise interest rates, which would choke off the credit and investment needed for that 8% growth target. They are literally trying to drive the economy with the accelerator floored while simultaneously slamming on the monetary brakes. The bank is navigating this by setting a daily official reference rate, which was 25,153 VND per USD on December 2nd, and allowing a tight trading band around it. Every intervention, every dollar sold from the reserves, is a temporary patch on a structural problem. The path to true stability isn't a magic number from the US Treasury, it's a painful series of choices, prioritizing stability over breakneck growth, waiting for the US Fed to cut rates, and hoping for a return of foreign investor confidence. So, the next time you see a headline about the dong revaluing, understand the truth: the real battle isn't for a higher value, it's a desperate, expensive fight to prevent a collapse, and that fight is being waged every single day in Hanoi, not in a Washington TV studio. Now, let's cut to the ultimate question and the ultimate source. If the US Treasury truly made a world-altering announcement about the dinar or the dong, wouldn't it be the biggest story on their official website? There would be press releases, transcripts, official statements, detailed economic justifications. I went straight to the source. The US Department of the Treasury website. I searched every possible keyword. Iraqi dinar revaluation. Vietnamese dong. Currency reset. Exchange rate announcement. The result? Absolute, deafening silence. Not a single document, not a memo, not a stray footnote. The most powerful financial institution on earth does not make secret, televised proclamations about other nations' currencies. It operates through official channels, publishes mountains of data, and its actions are scrutinized by every central bank and hedge fund on the planet. The complete absence of any evidence from the primary source is the most damning evidence of all. But this leads us to the real, tangible connection between Washington and these currencies, which is far more influential than any fake news clip. The actual mechanism isn't an announcement, it's the monumental, $25 trillion US Treasury market itself, the bedrock of global finance. This market doesn't just finance the US government, it sets the baseline for interest rates and investment flows worldwide. When the US Federal Reserve tightens monetary policy, as it has been doing to combat inflation, it effectively reduces its absorption of these treasury bonds. This can lead to declining liquidity in that crucial market. And here is the critical global link. When liquidity in the US Treasury market is low, the entire world's bond markets become more sensitive and reactive to US monetary policy shocks. A study by the European Central Bank confirmed that the impact of a US policy shift on bond yields in other advanced economies is actually amplified when US Treasury market conditions are tight. So, the real story is this: the US isn't announcing revaluations, it's creating a financial environment where every other central bank, including Iraq's and Vietnam's, must carefully navigate the ripple effects of its domestic policy decisions. The State Bank of Vietnam isn't waiting for a blessing from the Treasury, it's anxiously watching the Fed's interest rate decisions because those decisions directly influence the capital flows that pressure the dong. The Central Bank of Iraq maintains its peg not because of an American decree, but as a strategic choice to provide stability in an economy vulnerable to the very global volatility that US policy can influence. This brings us to your most powerful tool, the one that renders all these rumors powerless, the skill of source verification. I want you to open a new browser tab right now. In one tab, go to the Central Bank of Iraq's official website. Find the section for exchange rates. You will see the official, government-mandated rate. It will not be 1-to-1. It will be approximately 1,310 IQD to $1, a rate projected by the International Monetary Fund to remain steady through at least 2026. In another tab, go to the State Bank of Vietnam's portal. Look for their monetary policy statements and their daily reference rate. You will see a rate set to manage economic stability, not to create speculative millionaires. Then, in a third tab, go to the US Treasury's press releases page. Use their search function. You will find statements on sanctions, on debt issuance, on bilateral meetings, not on revaluing foreign currencies. This simple, 5-minute exercise of checking primary sources is the kryptonite to the entire rumor industry. It empowers you with undeniable facts. The IMF's latest assessment of Iraq, for instance, doesn't discuss a pending revaluation, it outlines the severe economic headwinds the country faces, with non-oil growth slowing sharply and significant fiscal adjustments needed. These are the real, complex challenges that dictate monetary policy, not internet fantasies. Meanwhile, Vietnam's astounding 8.23% GDP growth in the third quarter of 2025 is a testament to its real economic engine, manufacturing and exports, not currency speculation. So, here is my final call to action for you, the true Dinar Insider. Your vigilance cannot end when this video does. The next rumor is already being manufactured in a forum, the next edited clip is being rendered right now. Your defense is perpetual skepticism and primary source verification. Before you let hope or excitement take over, before you share that shocking new leak, you must demand proof from the only places that matter, the .gov and .cb websites of the institutions that actually control these currencies. Bookmark them. Check them weekly. Make it a habit. When you see a new video with a sensational title, pause. Go to those official sites first. If the information isn't there, it does not exist in the world of legitimate finance. You have the power to break the cycle of manipulation, not just for yourself, but for others in your community. Share the links to the CBI and SBV. Encourage others to do their own verification. Be the voice that redirects the conversation from what if to what is, because in the high-stakes world of finance, what is the verified, official, data-driven truth is the only thing that truly protects you. Your insight must be true, and it starts and ends with the source. Stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next one, where we continue to cut through the noise.